Today we're going back to applique as we make block number 6 of the Liberty wall sampler. To get started with this block, we're going to cut the background and set that aside. We'll be working with these 2 pages of the printable PDF. If you're using the SVG file for this block, it comes all together and you don't have to piece it together. We're going to cut one of the pages on the line and then tape these 2 pages together to give us our full true to size template for our applique. Then we'll simply trace with our fusible and get our applique star ready. I like to press my background in both directions to give myself some centering guides, both vertically and horizontally, so that I can place this star directly in the center. We're going to fuse it down and then head over to the sewing machine. Pardon the noise from the dryer. Hopefully it's not too loud. Harlan is washing some clothes on this Saturday. So for this applique piece, I think I'm going to use the blanket stitch. So I've already wound a bobbin with a light color cream thread. Same thread I'm going to use in the very top, and see how that just blends right in. Now you could use a thread that's going to blend into your applique or totally contrast with your applique and actually be like a design feature of your block, right? No matter which thread color you decide to do, I always recommend having some scraps off to the side that you actually set up your blanket stitch width and length so that you can see what your stitch is going to look like before you bring in your work. So here's where I started, and I adjusted the width, and the stitch that I'm using is number 6 on the Juki. It's the blanket stitch, or yours might be called the applique stitch. The width is set at 2.6 and the length is set at 2.8. Of course, this might look different with your machine and those same settings, but you might want to give that a try if you like the look of that stitch. So I'm going to go ahead. I do not have any stabilizer underneath of this block. This is a pretty light stitch, and I've lowered the tension to a -2. And even with that, my stitch is beautiful on both the front and the back. So that's the tension at the top of the machine. And no stabilizer on the back. I'm going to go ahead and do the blanket stitch. You of course could do any of the stitches in your machine if you like, or maybe even hand stitch this down. Hold on a second. I'm going to change the foot so you could see this better. I believe this is the first time we're doing the blanket stitch for this quilt. However, it's one of my favorite applique stitches to use. It goes by pretty quick, and I love that it almost looks like it's hand done. Although my hand stitch would never look this perfect. One of the things I love about this stitch also is it really secures the applique. However, the stitch is not very dense, and so there's no need to use any interfacings or stabilizers underneath of this block while you're doing this stitch. And I also love that you can change the look of the blanket stitch so easy. It's so versatile. All you'd have to do is change the width or the length, and every single one of your blanket stitches could look totally unique to each other. Just as a tip when doing this particular stitch, anytime you stop and rotate your background, you want to make sure that your needle is in the background fabric and not the applique fabric. And here we are, finished block number 6. I love the dark background of this block. I think it makes the star really pop off of there. Thank you so much for watching this block, and I hope to see you tomorrow for block number 7. Have a great day, everybody.